The first philosophers were called pre-Socratics because they worked in the period before the Greek philosopher Socrates, 469 to 399 BC, from about 585 BC to 400 BC. The prefix pre tells us that Socrates is a chronological marker indicating a change in thought. There is a before Socrates and an after. The before period is popularly understood as being characterized by a fragmented approach to knowledge, with the after Socrates period constituting a more systematic and sophisticated approach. But the work of the pre-Socratics might seem more fragmented than what came after, only because the evidence we have of it is fragmentary. Very few original texts remain, and most of our knowledge of pre-Socratic thought is filtered through the verbal accounts, translations, and therefore prejudices of those that followed. For philosophy, and I include here the concepts of thought and thinking in general, the Socratic moment is important in the way that the moment represented by the birth of Jesus Christ, 5 BC to AD 30, is important. The establishment of Christ's birth as the year zero of Western civilization trumps the Socratic moment, for it determined that time and history would henceforth be regarded as Anno Domini, AD, in the year of the Lord, the past being referred to as before Christ, BC. Socrates and Jesus Christ, the man, Socrates made no claim to divinity, had several things in common. Both were teachers. Both were executed for their beliefs. Both left behind schools of followers who would guarantee the longevity of their ideas. And both abided by a one-word commandment. For Socrates, it was think. For Christ, love. Socrates' disadvantage. One advantage Socrates had over the pre-Socratics is that his thought was recorded by his pupil Plato, 428 or 427 to 348 or 347 BC, and so survives intact to this day. The disadvantage that Socrates, Aristotle, and the other Greek fathers of Western philosophy endured is that their light was hidden under a bushel for more than 1,000 years, while Christian thought prospered and became dominant. A fact that might annoy contemporary Islamophobes is that we owe our knowledge of the Greek philosophers to Islamic scholars who transcribed their texts into Arabic at a time when the Greek tongue had been lost in the West as a result of the dominance of Latin, the language of the Roman Empire. Arabic translators preserved classical thought, and it is from their texts that the Greeks eventually found their way into Latin in the 12th century and into the vernacular during the 15th and 16th centuries. It's remarkable to note that the first complete English translations of Plato and Aristotle, 384 to 322 BC, did not appear until the 19th century. They were made by Thomas Taylor, 1758 to 1835, and published posthumously in 1804, Plato, and between 1806 and 1812, Aristotle.